If you have been looking at your life and you saw that you had over time this behavior that created this life that you have right now, and you just have no idea, or maybe you're even hopeless that your life could actually improve, this video is for you. My name is Aristotle Daskal, and I help people fulfill their destiny. One of the steps in my journey of awakening into who I truly am and take charge of my life was starting reading the books of Joe Dispenza. And in this video, I want to talk to you about 3 teachings or 3 topics that I have read out of his book, and I want to synthesize them here for you. Now, of course, there are other videos that do a way better job. I just want to give you a few examples from my life in that moment when I was reading these books, and maybe that's going to help you identify how they could apply in your life. Joe Distenza is a chiropractor doctor that had a major accident, and then he stumbled across a few books that taught him that imagining his vertebrae healing actually will help his body recover faster. And that's exactly what he did. And since he had tremendous success with that, then he started actually teaching and researching a lot more, and then teaching other people how imagining their wishes fulfilled, imagining the way that the kind of life that they can have is actually able to change how their life looks like. And he approached this from a scientific point of view. He did a lot of scientific research around it, and that was the new part for me, because until then I have read books like The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer, and I read books like Letting Go by David Hawkins and all his other books, and now I stumbled across something that spoke a little bit more my language, more scientific. One of the first teachings that he has across all his books is that your personality creates your personal reality. Well, that means that your thoughts trigger your emotions, and together they create a specific experience because of the actions and the behavior that you're having as a follow-up of those thoughts and those emotions. Now, what he's saying is that if that is the case, if you can look at your life and you can see how your thoughts and beliefs have been creating specific emotion and then a specific behavior and life experience, then it means that in the same way, if you would change those thoughts and you would change those emotions, then you could create a different reality for you. And he has a lot of meditation, and a lot in his books are these exercises where he's teaching you how to imagine the reality that you want, and in those moments elevate your emotion to truly feel good. Now, there's other books that, in my opinion, they did a way better job on helping you identify your emotions in the middle of your imagination, just because sometimes I've noticed myself that I can imagine something that I truly want, but I feel really like crap. And Joe Dispenza doesn't go very deep in his books on explaining why that happens and how you can change that. But I don't want to go in too deep right now about it, but maybe I'm going to make a different video more specific about it. But anyway, what he says is that if you are able to imagine a future that you want, a specific reality experience that you want, and you're able to have an emotion when you have that imagination, that visualization about how your life may look like, that will change something so tremendously in your mind, or you're going to attract certain events through a metaphysical process that your behavior will change and you will get to create that thing in your life. In my day-to-day practice, what I've noticed is that if I would imagine something very generic, sometimes I would not be able to feel very, very good about it. And what I did is that I broke down what I want and I tried to visualize more in depth exactly what will I be doing. Let's say that I want $1 million, or I want to have a business that makes me $500,000 a year or something like that. If I would just say I want this amount of money, nothing kind of comes up and I don't feel really good. But if I say I want more money so that I can, or I want $500,000 so that I can take my family to Disneyland once a year, so that I can get a cabin in the forest, so that I can go on researching human behavior, or I want to visit South America, or I want to bring more of the medicine of, I don't know, Eastern into North America, or whatever you imagine. If you actually imagine how your life looks like, if you imagine the relationships you're going to be building, if you imagine in detail your life, then you're going to be able to pinpoint what you actually want to happen in your life and what actually you don't really want to happen. So you stay just with a visualization around the elements that you truly actually want to be in your life. And if you do that, then automatically your feelings are going to elevate. But there's two reasons why you may not feel really good. One reason is that what you desire is not exactly what you truly want. And I just spoke to that right now. And the other one is that you don't believe that you could actually do it. You don't believe that it's achievable by you. And for that, actually, creating a strategic plan is a really good way to do it, because when you have a strategic plan, when you look at what other people have done, that's already a proof to you that it can be done. And then if you can articulate a strategic plan for you to see that if you work 2 hours a day on this idea, and then if you do that, and then if you do that, you're going to be able to actually get to a little milestone, and then all those milestones combined will get you to creating that kind of business or get that vacation. Then it's starting to make sense, and you start to believe, and then your emotions are going to elevate because now it is exactly what you want and you believe that you can achieve it. The second teaching, or the second focus that he has in his books, is that if you have built a specific pattern of thinking and beliefs that over time trigger specific emotion and then a specific reality, and now through the use of imagination and visualization you can do the same thing, you have to understand that when you've built those patterns, those beliefs, you have built it by being programmed at a specific brain frequency, a specific brain state, which is usually from the childhood, being in more of a theta brainwave, because that's what the state that the brain is in the childhood. You've been absorbing and considering as true anything that you've been hearing. Now, as you grow older, your brain gets more into an alpha state, and then it becomes a beta state as the predominant state. It's the state where all day long you're in this frenzy, always switching from things to things. And an alpha state is where you're more focused, way more focused. And theta is almost asleep, and that is the state where you're daydreaming, or the state right before going to sleep. And that is the equivalent of a child that his parents teach him that, oh, maybe you're not good enough, or yes, you're an amazing boy. And those things stick with him and build beliefs in that child. In the same way, if you come into more of a theta state, and you, in those moments, you read affirmation, or you talk to yourself, or you do introspection, and in those moments when your brain is quiet down, it's completely relaxed. In that moment, if you fill your mind with specific thoughts and you say affirmations, for example, new beliefs that you construct, then they're going to stick in your mind and they're going to hold in there just like they did when you were a kid. That's why it's important, or it's a really amazing tool when you're older, when you're an adult, the meditation in itself. Why? Because in meditation, you relax your body completely. Basically, you get into this alpha and even theta state of your brain when you're completely relaxed. So all the things that you tell yourself, that you hear in those moments, they really solidify in your mind, and you're reprogramming your mind with new thoughts. If you just read stuff throughout the day and you're not paying at all attention, your subconscious doesn't pay attention, then you're not going to see maybe major change. But even if you go to sleep and you put some affirmations in your mind, and I did this, swear to God, it worked like a charm. Like 3 Magic Words, that book by U.S. Anderson has so many affirmations in it, and that I started reading those and putting them in my ear while I was sleeping, and they just built again in me the confidence and the beliefs into who I truly am as an infinite being. So the second teaching is bring your brain and your mind into a theta state so that you can absorb the new thoughts and new beliefs. And the third topic that he's been talking so detailed in his books is around the health. When you experience a specific event that is traumatizing, something like someone died in your family, someone dear for you, or you're afraid that something really bad may happen, or I don't know, you get into debt and you're afraid of something, or you're afraid for your kids or for your life. When you have certain events like that, now the events may pass away, but you continue to remember that event when it's no longer happening. And every time you remember that event, your body relives that event. What that means is that your body has the same cortisol secretion. It has the same, it just secretes the same hormones, again, of fight or flight. And it's this complete stress state, which is very useful when you're in the middle of a situation, when your life is being threatened. Everything prepares you for you to run and escape from that experience. But as a memory, when that doesn't happen anymore, but you still remember it, it's like it happens every second over and over again. And our body is not designed for that. It's designed for that to happen once in a blue moon, right? When you are in the middle of an attack, and then it knows how to recover itself. But when we keep on living in the past or in the future with, shame and grief and attachment or something that happened in the past, or towards fear about something that may happen in the future, it's an illusion. These are illusionary events that still make our body feel and live in the moment right now, just like they would happen right now. So our body is in a continuous stress. Imagine a hammer knocking and knocking and knocking, and a piece of metal or whatever just makes it thinner and thinner and thinner, and at a point there's nothing to it. So in the same way it happens to us. We're not meant for that stress, and it's an illusion. It's not real. That event has happened at a point, or that event may happen in the future, but it doesn't make any sense for you to continue to keep that stress on you. So what that means is that if you look in your body and you have some illnesses, instead of simply just accepting it, I am sick, or just take all these treatments, it's way better if you analyze your emotions and see, is there any unresolved emotion that I've been keeping in my life, that I've been dragging in my life? And if you identify, try to go to the root of it. And there's other books or other methods that may be better, like belief shifting and emotional neutralization, that may be very suitable to do that. And I've done it in my therapy myself. And I don't think that Joe Dispenza goes very deep in how to do that. But the point is this: if you are unhealthy, or if you have some sicknesses, it may be, check your emotional state. It may be that you're holding on to some events that have happened in the past, or some fears of something that could happen in the future. And you should handle those, and then you could see your body completely change and reverse a lot of sicknesses, a lot of illnesses. So these are the three major topics that I've got from Joe Dispenza, and I love. Go check his books and buy them and read them, and they're amazing. I think that the one that I've used the most out of these three teachings, or the one that really made a significant impact and I took action based on it, was the second one about reprogramming your mind by relaxing your body, going into a state of mind where you're in a theta, and then reprogram your thoughts and your beliefs, and tell yourself the words, the affirmation of who you truly are and what is truth and real, and then rebuild and rewire your brain for a new identity, basically. And then that is going to completely change the way that you feel. It's going to completely change the reality, what happens in your life. And in a way, at that point, I truly understood what meditation actually is. Meditation itself, it's not a spiritual act. It's more of a physical act of making quiet in yourself. Because once you make quiet, then you realize, or you remember, that you are this spiritual being, that you're an infinite being, that your consciousness that has taken form for a period of time to experience humanity. And from then on, basically, you allow it's a safe space for you to allow to who you truly are. It's like you're clearing up the waters. It's like you're removing the mess. It's like you're removing the blockers, which is the mind completely frenzy about past or about future. And now you're finally living in the moment. That was my biggest takeaway for myself.